class, I am going to do a tutorial on Excel. It's going to be really important that for this class that you get really familiar with how to use Excel, and you take the time and the effort to get familiar with the program. If you do not have Excel, I believe you can order it, do like an online version of it for a few dollars a month, or you can use Google Sheets. My only warning about Google Sheets is that it's glitchy. It doesn't always do what you want it to do. So some basic skills, and what I'm going to do is kind of go back and forth between the PowerPoint and the class assignment that I've assigned for the week, and that way you can kind of see if you're on the right track. All right, so basic skills you need to learn how to do are opening and saving files, opening and saving files, navigating through Excel, understanding what a range is and being able to select those ranges, inserting, deleting rows and columns, entering text, data, and formulas. We're going to go over a section for formulas, how to format a column, working with text strings, basic calculations, and then maybe even modifying the appearance of a spreadsheet. Okay, so here, this is Office 2007. If I come out of here really quick, and we can go into, I have the most recent version of Excel, and this is your classwork assignment. And so you can see it's kind of not the same thing, but if I push down on that button, here you have the formatting, right? You have the, and then if we go here to insert, click on that, insert, there's some more options. There's the draw on your Excel spreadsheet. Here's your page layout, different types of formulas. Data button is actually going to be really important. And in the far corner here, I don't know if you can see the little, I've highlighted data analysis. That's really important. We're going to be using that quite a bit. And so I wanted to kind of go over that. That's what the current one looks like. So it doesn't quite look like this, but it's pretty similar. There's the home, they have the insert, the page layout, the formulas, data review, or data, which again is going to be important. How do you select a cell? All you have to do is literally just click on it. Click on a cell. You can copy a cell, right? You can copy a cell. All you have to do is hit Control C. I believe for Macs it's a little bit different. So I'm on a PC. The rules might be a little bit different if you have a Mac. Now, if you want to paste the cell, okay, here, if you want to paste the cell, you just hit Control V right here, okay? Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Now, if you want to enter a math formula, always going to start the frame with an equal sign. Okay, so just like here, look, you're just doing the difference, right? You have to start it with an equal sign, and then you enter, you can enter a number, or what I like to do, so what this means here, C4, you take your right, this box, this C4 is this right here, okay? And B4, notice it's C, and it's the fourth row. B4 is this right here. Subtracting 5301 minus 3241. What's happening in this difference? Notice here it says the 2010% total in column E, right? So again, they're taking the C4, this guy right here, and they're dividing it by C12, which is this guy right here, okay? And notice you have these dollar signs. Absolute addressing, use this dollar sign, and it's used to keep the original values. So what will happen is if you input the value and you put C12, if you were to hit Control Copy and then go down to this next one, what will happen is it will divide by C13. Well, there's nothing in C13. So the dollar signs in this order assure you that it's always going to divide by the total occupations. All right, so what are some functions? These are actual functions that you can do. You can find the minimum, you can find the maximum, you can find the sum, and you can find the average. We'll be doing these quite often. How do you insert a function? Well, this is the way to do it in 2007 Excel. I'm going to show you how to do it in the current Excel. And so for this particular one, You can see here that, so why don't we find the sum of the number of hours here? A few things. So to add a row, right, I'm going to hit right click, insert. Okay, so it inserted some stuff. So here at the bottom of the number of hours checking an email, column G, here at the bottom you're going to hit equals sum. Okay, so notice this box comes over here on the right, on the sum, right click, and so notice there's this columns, and what this bottom number here is doing is it's telling you what you need to insert. So you need to insert some information. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight all of these values all the way down, and look at what it did. It included G9, which is the first number, to G58, which is this value 7 right here. I'm going to close the parentheses because that's what you need to do to finish the argument, and then you hit enter. So the total number of hours of 50 students is 437 hours. Now if you click on it again, it's all of the boxes that are highlighted. So if you're not sure what's included in your argument, click on the function that you inputted and it will highlight all of the boxes that you used. So you can try this again. Okay, so equals, let's find the average. Okay, why don't we find the average number of hours online per week? You're going to type in the average, right? And here it starts to pull it up, average. Yeah, and I'm just going to highlight all of the hours students were online. Close that parentheses and hit enter. So the average number of hours a student used was 12.28 hours. So two different functions, right? So column G is the sum of hours of all 50 students on their checking their emails. For column H, the number of hours online, we found the average number of hours a student spent online, or 12 hours and a quarter. Okay, so it looks a lot different here. Okay, and the only sort of solution really is that you just have to keep practicing with it. Okay, so some other useful tips. We're going to talk about a paste special. This right here is one of your problems. Actually, I think it's number 4 right here. The paste special, how to copy items onto Excel so that you get the right number of values. Column, row, and width, how to extend your make it bigger, maybe if you have to type in some more information. Filling a range with a series of numbers. Okay, so some other tips. Here are some functions that we are going to be using. You're definitely going to be using. If you took Math 130, you should have used the average, median, mode. You can find the variance. This STDEV is the standard deviation. Some problems we have the skew. Okay, we definitely tried to find the quartile and the covariance. These are all, this is actually, you would hit an equal sign and then type in the terms and you'll get, something to do with the function. So for each of these functions, you have to put equals, the name of the function like average, median, mean, mode, variance, standard deviation, and then you will have parentheses following it and you have to enter the argument. Okay, so that's always the case for functions. So analysis tool pack. Real quick, so I have it in my Excel because I use Excel a lot. Now, but for you guys, if you're just getting Excel for the first time, notice I clicked on data here, and on the far right corner, I have this thing called data analysis. Now, if you do not have that, you're going to come here to file. You're going to come to the bottom where it says options. In this dialog box, you're going to click on add-ins. Double click on add-ins, and it says manage Excel add-ins down here at the bottom. Notice I'm highlighting it, and just click go. And you can add the solver add-in and but definitely add the analysis toolbox. Make sure the box is checked and you hit OK. I already have it, so nothing's happening, but you need to make sure you have this guy in the corner. It's really going to be important. What does the analysis tool pack do? For short, it does the ANOVA analysis. You can do your basic descriptive statistics, which means it'll find the mean, median, mode, variance, standard deviation, range, minimum, maximum, and even I believe your quartiles in one shot instead of doing each individual one. You can find a histogram, you can do t-tests, you can do regression analysis. I'm going to actually bring it up really quick. Why don't we come up here, data analysis, you click on it, and so look at all of the things. So ANOVA single factor, ANOVA two factor with replication, ANOVA two factor without replication. None of this makes sense to you, but we're actually going to cover those in chapter 13. Finding, we don't do correlation, but we do find the covariance, we do find descriptive statistics, we do the F-test. We will do exponential smoothing in chapter 16. We're not going to do Fourier. We will do the moving average in chapter 16. You will do the t-test in chapters 9 and 10. We will do regression in chapter 13. I don't know if we do the z-test here, but we definitely we do find the z-scores, but I don't think we do a z-test, if memory serves me right. Okay, and so then this is kind of how you do it, depending on what this will. You'll get another dialog box. So this is regression, and so this gives you an option to highlight the y range, highlight the x range, whether you included the labels, your confidence level, and where you want to put it. And so I'm not going to show you how to do that, but I just want you to get familiar with it, and it'll all come together at the end. So cancel. Let's go back to our computing descriptive statistics. There's online. This one goes to a Facebook survey. Ours is just, I think, college students. Logins per day, how many friends, are they a student, and what their gender is. Okay, and so notice the input range. They inputted B3 through D36. So B3, so all of this, C and D. So they're grouping it by columns. So they're going to do descriptive statistics for hours online, the logins per day, and the number of friends that they have. And they're creating, they highlighted the labels in the rows because then it'll label what you get as an output. Notice they're opening a new worksheet, and they highlighted the summary statistics, and then you're going to hit OK. All right, and so you should get something that spits this out, okay? And so notice they separated hours online per week, logins per day, and the number of friends. And so let's talk about this. The mean number, or the average number of hours online, is about 2.7 online that they're on Facebook. Standard deviation, so it varies, right? This median here is 2, but it'll vary by 2 hours. So some students might use the Facebook, maybe just a few minutes per week, and some may use it up to 4 hours per week. Okay, kurtosis, skewness, we'll talk about that later in this quarter, but the range is about 7 hours, from 0 to 7 hours. So there are some students that do not use Facebook at all. There's the maximum number of hours students on Facebook is 7. Total number, so however many students they cover, there's 33 students, and the total number of hours spent on Facebook between 33 students is 90 hours. So you can see probably about 3 hours per student per week. Logins per day. Okay, so this is 2.8 logins, so almost 3 logins per day. The average number of times logged in is 2. The most number of times people logged in at least once per day. Out of the 33, they logged in on an average of 1 time per day, or the most times is logged in is 1 time per day. Standard deviation, so here what that means is they can log in almost 3 to up to 5 times per day. And then again, the minimum here is close to no times per day. All right. And so you can see how to read these results. You're going to do this for exercise number 3. You can see here, One is done for you. Okay, so what you can actually do to see if you're doing it the right way is that you can click on this data. The first page is just the data. And so notice for exercise 3, it says click on B8 and notice the formula, average, social networking. Number 3, you're going to enter in each individual one, right? So here is the average, right? Average, you're going to go back to social networking and you're going to highlight the number of hours they spend checking. Okay, so there's that. Social networking G9 through G58. Okay, so you're going to do that for each one, all right? That's what you want to do. Now for number 5, you're actually just going to go into data, go to data analysis, click on descriptive statistics, and you're going to highlight the input range. So you're going to highlight everything from, what does it want you to find out? The hours checking emails and the hours online. So you're going to come here and you're going to click back on social networking. You're going to highlight checking email, checking online. Okay, don't make sure that extra stuff on the bottom. Okay, make sure you group by columns. We added the labels, and we're going to the output range. You can actually just click this and then click. You can just click a box down here. Okay, and highlight summary statistics. All right, and that's what you're going to want to do for number 5, and you should get something very similar to this on that worksheet page. But organizing your and presenting your data graphically, right? So you can create graphs. This is actually really important. You can do a column graph, a line graph, pie, bar, area, scatter, and other types of charts. Okay, so this first one is column and bar charts. Talking about scales, so if you did Math 130, the first quarter of statistics, we talked about nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio statistics, data, I'm sorry. And so equal opportunity employment report in Alabama. So the total number of employees is, if we look at this first column of officials and managers, there's 60,000 employees. A little over 40,000 are men and about 20,000 are women. And so notice when I'm looking at a chart, they have a title, they have a key. Make sure your key makes sense. It's not just saying S2 or G5. And then notice they have, they have labeled the whole, all of the bottoms. And I really would have liked to seen the units for this left. But for the most part, if you explain like number of employees, right? It's really important that if you show an individual your chart, that I can understand, or any other person can understand what your chart is representing. If there's just a bunch of bars and random, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm not going to know what any of these things are, but this is really nicely done. Officials and managers, professionals, technicians, sales workers, etc., all the way down. The next type of chart that is used often is pie charts. Those of you that took Math 130, one of our projects, we had to create a visual, right? So doing a column or bar chart is very useful. A pie chart, notice they're talking about marital status of, seems like a large population, 25 million never married, 107 million married with the spouse present, 6.8 million married with spouse absent, 4.6 separated, 13 million widowed, and 19 million divorced. Marital status of quite a few number of people. This might be like the Census Bureau statistics of the entire United States. But they input this information. You created a little chart and you highlighted and you created a pie chart. And this is without ever seeing this right here, you can look and see there's quite a few married with the spouse present, and then the other options here. A Pareto diagram, the book talks about it. We don't do it all too often. And basically it's two graphs set into one, where the left side is the percent invested in each category. So notice 0 to 45%. And then the right side is this linear graph, and it follows a cumulative invested. So notice this individual has money in stocks, bonds, savings, and CD. And notice as each bar goes up, stocks are about 45% of the investment. Sorry, I gotta look this way. Stocks and bonds are about 75% of his investment. With his savings, it's about 85%. And with everything, notice it's 100%. So it's just a different way to look at your information. How can you take some raw data that looks like this? Oops, let's cancel this right here. Let's cancel it again. How do you take raw data that looks like this, and how do you present it in a way that somebody that didn't take the data, or that didn't, they couldn't do the average, the sum, the statistics, and how do you present it in a way that an average person can look at it and say, oh, this is what your numbers are doing. And that's important in any business, and in any business. What are your numbers actually telling you? Because you can have spreadsheets galore, but how do you create reports? Line charts, okay, how do you create a linear graph? One thing that's not included here that's very important to me, it's not included in the previous graph, is here on the left hand side they label the Y chart, and this is individually labeled. But notice here, it's obvious that these are years, but what if you just put 1, 2, 3, 4? I wouldn't know what they are. So make sure everything is properly labeled. I would mark you down so it says 0, 10, 20, and these are US exports to China. So what is this left hand side? Is it is there $15 billion in exports? Is it parcels? What does this left side represent? Okay, so make sure that your graphs are labeled correctly. They have a title and in a legend if necessary, but make sure the X and the Y are labeled. Okay, so here again, these are area charts. Again, make sure you label your Y chart, but notice they have at least labeled fossil fuel consumption here in the blue, and total energy consumption here in the red. Okay, so pivot tables are really interesting. So for creating frequency distribution tables, you can select any cell and choose pivot table from the insert menu. Enter your options, so drag and drop items in or out of the fields to select data. So here is, this is very similar to our data again. So again, there's employees, gender, years of service. This is the counting department survey data, years of undergraduate study, graduate degree, CPA, and age group. So not, obviously this person's not 5 years old, but they are in group 5. Okay, whatever that group is, right? And so we want to create a pivot table. So click on pivot table, select a table. Notice they're going from A3 to G30. So A to G. They highlighted all of this all the way down to 30. Okay. And we're going to create a new worksheet. So what does this do? You should see something like this. You're going to be able to click employee, gender, whatever it is that you want. You want to label your rows, etc. And you get something like this. So the sum of the years of service for females, right? This is yes, no, and grand total. So this is the sum of the years of service. For the female, are 141 years of service. The average number of years of service for women are about 10 years. Average number of service for men are about almost 20 years. And check boxes, right? So we're just looking at employee, gender, graduate degree, and whether or not they're a CPA. Labels are graduate degree. Values is the count of employees. Row labels are gender and whether or not they're a CPA. This is very similar to our female, age, Facebook. It's a count of the year, freshman, graduate school, junior, sophomore, senior. Do they have Facebook? 1 out of the 11 freshmen say yes. 1 out of the 8 graduate students say yes. 3 out of the 8 juniors say yes. Out of the 13 sophomores say yes. And 5 out of the 10 seniors say yes. How to create a histogram. Go to Excel. Menu, data analysis. And you're going to click on histogram. And you're going to click on chart output. And so it gives you the bin number. This is basically, so 50, right? Bin number just means the range. So in this range, there's from 0 to 50. Number 3 is 50 to 100, right? And it'll create a histogram for you. Format the bars of the histogram output to make it look like a real histogram with no gaps. Basically, you double click on the bars, you select series options, and you choose gap width to be 0%. You can do frequency charts, you can divine the bins, and select a range of cells. You can enter a formula, and you can construct a histogram using the chart wizard from the column chart as well. All right, finding probabilities. Now I'm going to go through this really quickly, only because we'll go into more depth. But obviously you can do, or not obviously, but you can also do normal distribution, right? So you can compute the normal probabilities. So again, normal distribution. You input all of these values, which are the X value, the mean, the standard deviation, and the cumulative. That's why there's 1, 2, 3, 4 arguments. Right, you can do the normal probability calculations, right? If you remember this from the first quarter of statistics. This again is how to find your z-value and find the probability of the z-value. Notice that Excel will do it for you as well. If you have the mean and the standard deviation, your X value, it will output all of your normal distribution values. There are some other Excel websites, but again, the best practice is, the best tutoring is really just to practice. So we're going to continue to be doing quite a few Excel assignments. If you do not have Excel, you're going to need to get it for this quarter. Really quick before I end, this is the classwork assignment, right? So notice you have student ID, you have gender, age, freshmen, whether or not they have Facebook, MySpace, the number of hours they check their email, and the hours online. So the first exercise is for the most part done for you. Some things I want to point out is they have the frequency. They just added them all up, right? But notice the percent. The first one is done for you. You just need to find the percent of the frequency for everything. Now B13 is again just the total, right? So if you click on it, notice they're highlighting the values that are included, B8 over B13. For exercise number 2, you're going to go to exercise number 1. You're going to complete the table with the mouse, click the copy function, come back to this page, and hit paste. Okay? Using the chart options, create any graph that you wish. So for exercise number 2, you're basically going to take this, finish it, exercise 2, create a graph. Exercise number 3, again, there should be formulas for this first row And the whole point of that is that you would have the formulas to complete the hours checking email and the hours online. So you need to fill out each individual row here. And what I will be looking for is, did you use the correct formula? Are your answers correct, etc. Exercise number 4, all you're going to do is you're going to go to this actual website. You're going to hit Control C and you're going to paste it using the paste special for text or the Unicode text, and it'll individually give each thing a row. If you just hit Control P, it's going to put it all into one column, and that's not what we want. For exercise number 5, you're going to come to data, you're going to come to data analysis, and you're going to click on descriptive statistics, and you're going to highlight as your input for the hours checking emails and the hours online. I'm going to click on descriptive statistics and highlight all of the values for checking hours online, emails, and then hours online, and make sure you click on descriptive summary statistics. And for the most part, these directions are all correct. So that is what you're going to do at the end for exercise 5. So again, good luck to all of you. If you have any questions, please email me and I will get back to you as soon as possible.